Today I'm testing out the world's most realistic food slime kits and seeing if they're actually worth it. Hit subscribe and let's get started. Okay, I'm actually so excited for this video because I've been wanting to try these out for so long. These are from GT Creation Slime, and I've seen videos of their food slime kits all over the internet for so long now that it was finally time for me to try them. If you haven't seen these before, they're basically like hyper-realistic food slime cooking kits that come with all the ingredients pre-made for you and just everything you need to construct these super realistic food slimes. I decided to order 3 of these kits. There were so many to choose from, but these were the ones that caught my eye the most. And the first one that I'm starting with is a pizza kit. I feel like this is just like a classic food slime kit, and it's definitely the one I've seen on the internet the most, so I felt like I kind of had to get it. So in the box it comes with the instructions, which are kind of the recipe, some flour, this slime mozzarella, and this slime tomato sauce, and then of course the pizza dough, which is just soft clay. I was so impressed by how realistic the packaging was. The kit also came with some of this fake basil, some slime activator which was pre-made, and some olive oil. I thought this was it, but at the bottom of the box there was a knife and this thing called cooking powder, which I'm so excited to see what it actually is. Already my first impression is like, wow, there is so much stuff, and I was so excited to actually start making this. The first thing I'm going to open is the pizza dough, and this was really soft. I was kind of a little surprised at how soft it was because I didn't know how it was going to mold into the pizza base, but I was going to follow the instructions and they say to mix it with the slime flour. And can we talk about how cute the little box for this is? Now in reality this is just cornstarch, so I laid it all over the table and then actually on top of the dough itself and kind of just coated it in it so that there wasn't like any sticky edges. Now the instructions say to roll it out, but I didn't have a roller, so I just molded it with my hands, and I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, I feel like that's what they do in actual pizza restaurants anyway, so maybe I'm being more authentic. Once the base was done, it was time for the next main step, which was the tomato sauce slime. I opened this up and I was kind of shocked at the texture. I don't know what I was expecting, but a jelly slime seems to work for this, because it definitely seems like the right kind of texture and consistency of actual tomato sauce, apart from its slime and not sauce. I ended up only using about a quarter of this to coat the slime, and I kind of just stretched it out and placed it on top of the dough to leave room for a crust as well. The next ingredient was of course the cheese, and this was so realistic. It was insane. It was so white and so glossy, it really did look like fresh mozzarella. And again, I actually didn't use too much of this because I wanted it to look realistic, and I'm definitely not mad about it because I really like the texture of this on its own. To place this on the slime, I just broke little bits up and kind of just split it onto it. I knew that also it was probably going to sit and spread out a little bit, so I made sure that there was enough gaps between each piece. Now that the pizza is done, I decided to place it onto this little sheet, and it was now time to cook the pizza with the cooking powder. I really wasn't sure what this was, but it turns out it's just brown pigment. There's a lighter brown shade and then kind of a darker brown to make some bits look a little more burnt, and I used the brush to brush it onto the edges of the crust to make it look like it had been cooked. This was definitely a bit of a trust the process moment because I wasn't sure how realistic I was going to be able to make this look, but when the light brown layer was on and I started going with the darker pigment, it really started to look real. The best way to do this was kind of dab a lot on, let it sit for a bit, and then kind of brush it off, and it kind of blends the colors together really naturally. There was so much leftover pigment, so I ended up cleaning that all away from it, and our pizza was now officially baked. This honestly looks stunning as it is, and I'd kind of be happy with this, but there's more steps, because this kit came with basil and olive oil. It actually came with so many different basil leaves. I kind of just sprinkled on as many as I thought looked good, and I cut one of the leaves up to make tiny little pieces. The final step was to add a little drizzle of olive oil, and I kind of poked it into the slime a little bit before squeezing it to kind of give the look that it was absorbing the oil. And just like that, our pizza is officially done. I mean, I often say slime sometimes looks good enough to eat, even though you definitely shouldn't, but this really did. I feel like the most exciting part of this kit is mixing it together, but also the part I kind of wanted to do the least. Not because it was bad, but just because I really liked the look of it as a pizza. When I did mix it together, I have to say though, it was really satisfying. The pizza dough part of the slime was just so like soft and airy, and the tomato sauce and mozzarella just blended into it so nicely. And the texture was this kind of like fluffy, soft, but thick butter slime that was just so satisfying and smooth to play with. If you couldn't already tell, I was pretty impressed by this kit, and I actually really just want to do it all over again. Okay, so the next kit is actually a little bit bigger, and this kit comes with even more stuff. There's the cutest pack of eggs, which come with real plastic eggs in with slime inside, some more of the super cute little box of flour, some breadcrumbs, then some green crumbs, and this super realistic ground beef clay. There's some tomato sauce and some pasta dough, some slime cheese in a grater, some slime activator, an entire fork and a plate, and of course a little bit more basil. And this is for spaghetti meatballs. I read the instructions actual recipe, and the first thing I need to make is the pasta. To do this, I spread flour all over the table to make sure that the clay doesn't stick, and then open up the pasta dough. To be honest, this pasta dough actually felt kind of softer than the pizza dough, but because the other one didn't stick with the corn flour, I wasn't really worried about this. Now, to make spaghetti, I was kind of surprised that there wasn't a tool to do this for you in the kit, because you literally have to roll out each individual strand of spaghetti yourself, and even to do it in kind of thick pieces was really difficult. I feel like that's the only downside of this kit, is that it didn't come with something to make the spaghetti, because it did take me a really long time to make these pieces of pasta, which some people might say look too thick to be spaghetti, but oh well. I swirled them up into a nice pile of pasta, and they did kind of look more realistic like this, and placed it onto the provided plate. Now the pasta was done, I was so excited to actually make the meatballs part of the slime, and the first thing we're starting off with is the ground beef. I actually can't believe they sell a kit with clay that looks like beef. Like, that is so unique. I placed it into the bowl and then added the 2 eggs. The slime itself wasn't just in here, they were in bags, so I had to unwrap that, but I put them back into the eggs anyway after I'd opened it, just to try and make it seem a bit more realistic. I placed the yolk on top and then kind of wrapped the white part of the egg around it, and the colors for these were spot on because this looked like such a real egg. The next step was to grate some slime cheese into this. I have no idea what this is. My prediction is kind of like it's candle wax, because it smelled like vanilla and kind of felt like candle wax, and was actually so satisfying to grate into the slime. Once I'd added enough cheese, I had to save some for the top. I decided to add some of the breadcrumbs. I know I've said this before, but the attention to detail in these kits is just insane. The last ingredient was just a little sprinkle of herbs, and that was the meatballs part done. I just had to mix it together. This itself was actually a really fun experience, and you just have to mix it to blend everything together to then roll it into the meatballs. Now, cause with the eggs you're adding quite a bit of slime into the clay, I was thinking it might be kind of hard for the meatballs to stay in shape, but I just rolled them up anyway, and to be honest, there really didn't seem to be any problems. Now, the recipe says that you can make around 6 meatballs, so I made 6 of them, but I only used 3 of them. I just feel like 6 would look like there were too many on there, and I also had to add the sauce on too, and I didn't want it to look too much. This sauce seems to be the exact same one as the one in the pizza kit, and it was the really realistic tomato sauce looking kind of jelly slime. I kind of flattened this out before covering the meatballs, and I kind of just used my fingers to push it around them. I added a tiny sprinkle of some of the herbs, and then got some more of the slime cheese out and just grated it straight on top, before finally finishing it off with 2 little pieces of basil. And this is the finished result. If this was real, I would definitely devour this meal. This looks so good, and I actually kind of like the thicker pasta look of it. I began to mix this together, and it's really kind of strange, because it literally looks like real food and then it feels like slime. This felt very similar to the pizza slime, but I think this one was actually a little bit more satisfying. The spaghetti strings kind of all blended together, and it just had such a soft and smooth texture. I forgot to mention the fragrance of both of these slimes, and they pretty much smelt the same. I'm not sure what they're actually scented like, or whether I'm just making this up in my head, but I feel like the tomato part of the slime smells like fresh tomatoes, and then any of the other ingredients kind of have like a sweeter, more vanilla scent. I really love this one. So we've had the Italian food, we've had the pizza and the pasta, but what about something American? Because this one is a cheeseburger slime kit. It came with a ton of different sauces, a slice of lettuce, of course the instructions, a pre-made burger bun in this cool box, an activator spray bottle, and then of course the burger part of the slime. I don't know why I ordered so many beef slimes. The packaging on this was so cute, and the little sauce slimes look so realistic. So the first thing that the instructions told me to do was cut the lettuce leaf in half and open up the burger buns. I was actually blown away with how realistic this looked. There were literally pores inside the bread. It was insane. Now the bottom part of the bun was out. The first step is to add the cheddar sauce to it. This was so shiny, so glossy, and actually the perfect color. It really did look like the plastic cheese. I added a tiny bit of activator just because it was a little bit sticky, and then spread it on the base of the bun. I added the first slice of lettuce and then just cut it in half again, just so that it would have a kind of like nice lettuce edge. And then it was time to construct the burger. This was a snow fizz slime, and it had a really unique scent to it that I literally cannot put my finger on, but it smelled good. I divided this into 2 parts and then made each patty, and honestly, who knew snow fizz slime could look so much like beef? This is kind of like a Big Mac, so I only need 1 of these right now. So I placed it over the lettuce and then added the middle bun. Again, I was just kind of blown away by how realistic this bread looked, but it was now time to add the sauces. The ketchup had a similar texture to the other tomato slimes, and the mayo was similar to the cheese, but they really did get the colors of these spot on. I added my last burger piece and then topped the edge with cheese, because I kind of wanted to make it look like the cheese was melting everything out before I added some more ketchup and mayo and then the other pieces of lettuce. Finally, I added the rest of the bun and oh my goodness. I kind of feel like this one blows the other ones out the park because this just looks so real. I was actually really excited to mix this one. I feel like it's because there were so many different parts to it. And out of all of them, I feel like this personally was the most satisfying to mix because it just had so much going on and all of the layers were different. This one also had a different texture because of the snow fizz slime and was mixing into a really nice kind of crunchy butter slime. Again, I can't really say what the fragrance was, but I really did like it. I think it was kind of like a chocolatey vanilla fragrance, but also with kind of a hint of like freshness. It was really unique. Although I liked all of the slime kits, personally, I like this one the best just because I feel like it looked the most realistic. And I definitely want to buy another one of these. Well, I had so much fun trying some of the world's most realistic food slime kits. And to be honest, I'm definitely hungry after filming this because these were so realistic. I was so impressed. I've linked where you can get these kits below. This isn't a paid sponsorship or anything. I was just genuinely impressed. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit subscribe. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.